In the previous episodes of this series, we analyzed why Japan is desperate to regain its leadership in the semiconductor industry, and why it chose to cooperate with the US, which once suppressed the Japanese chip industry. However, it takes more than goal and motivation for a plan to work. Japan needs an overarching strategy to navigate the whole thing so as to increase its chance to success. Does it have a strategy for it? Of course, Japan has one. I call it dual insurance strategy, and it's a clever one indeed. So in this episode, we're going to talk about Japan's dual insurance strategy. Oh, but first, we have to remind you again, what is Japan's goal?
半導体は、究極のものづくりで、日本の力の源泉というのはものづくりですから、もう一度ですね、半導体で主導権を取り戻す。
Okay, simple and clear. In the previous two episodes, we explained how Japan got to retain its semiconductor equipment and materials sector in its competition with the US in the 1990s. Even till this day, they are world-class. However, Japan is almost a blank slate in terms of fabless chip design, and its wafer manufacturing stalls as well.
日本目前最先进的那个制程是40纳米的，所以缺乏那个生产更先进的那个28纳米的、22纳米的那种半导体生产那种半导体的能力，日本现在没有。
When a country's technology lags behind, there are two ways to catch up. One is to develop independently through R&D and embrace the learning curve. The other is to attract external investors, namely attracting technologies from abroad. Obviously, the latter is a shortcut, and Japan has the conditions to attract foreign assistance. But from whom?
今TSMC なんかに比べるとですね、ものすごく遅れをとっていますけれども、ただTSMC 様に追いつこうというふうなことではなくてですね。
TSMC already mass-produced the 3nm chips for iPhone 15 in 2023, and 45nm or 40nm nodes were developed by TSMC about 15 years ago. Going a long way to Japan, what process nodes would TSMC offer in the initial stage? On November 9, 2021, TSMC and Sony Semiconductor Solutions Corporation announced a joint press release indicating that TSMC has decided to build a special technology fab leveraging 2028nm. Sony will also take minority stake. February 10, 2021, TSMC announced to set up a 3D IC R&D center at Ibaraki, which was inaugurated in June 24, 2022.
日本希望那个台积电来那个补充，所以那个台积电那个熊本第一厂定位是那个满足这种那个日本缺乏的部分。
成熟制程。
对。
Apart from the lagging process miniaturization, Japan also formulates its strategy based on the shortage of certain chips in the market.
There are some difference between, for example, logic and memory. Memory, the number of the company that had enough capacity to supply memory to the global market is kind of limited. Like we have, production capacity of Kioxia and Micron in Japan. They will provide memory chips for domestic demand, as well as they, provide memory chip to a global market as well. But considering the logic situation, what we are doing is, we are mainly focusing on to fill the gap between chip production capacity and domestic internal demand.
A quick summary: Japan needs logic chips based on mature process, and it seeks to first satisfy the domestic market at present. That seems to be why TSMC is here, and that's the first layer of insurance in what I call dual insurance, the JASM.
TSMC が日本に進出することを決めた時にマスコミで批判する人はですね、どうせ TSMC は一番儲かるハイエンドロジックは台湾でやって注文は来るけども注文来るからこなさなきゃなんだけど大して儲かんないところ、刃物はですね日本の安い労働力でやらせるんだとそのために来るんだとおっしゃった人がいました。で私はそういうことは絶対ない。 TSMC が日本に来るのは新しい技術の芽がそこから日本から育っていくということを感じているから来るんですと。まず第一にソニーのイメージセンサーとロジック半導体で組むということはいわば一種のチップレットの技術でイメージセンサーがスマート化していくというその新しい可能性にいわばチャレンジしているからで。
First step? Yes. The cooperation with TSMC is in the step 1 of the strategy, and it went very well. On February 24th, 2024, Japan Advanced Semiconductor Manufacturing, JASM for short, began operating in Kikuyo-machi, Kumamoto. That's what I call the first layer of insurance in the dual insurance strategy. Okay, now Japan has achieved that. Congratulations. And what about the second layer of the insurance?
日本有几个策略嘛，第一个当然就是说，引进先端的进步的这种制造工厂到日本来，第二个他们自己也设立一间先进的半导体工厂在北海道，
获得那个全球最先进的 Rapidus， 还有那个 LSTC。负责这个部分 ，LSDC 是那个经济产业省下属的研究机构。这个 Rapidus 那个开发这个最先进的那个制种的时候，需要那个美国的合作，美国 IBM 也有那个跟欧洲的 IMEC 也有合作。开发最先进的技术是有很大的困难，所以也需要跟国外的。这些厂商或者企业或者那个研究机构也要合作了。
Rapidus was founded on August 10, 2022, 9 months later after the announcement of TSMC's fab in Kumamoto. LSTC was founded on December 21, 2022, 22 months after the announcement of TSMC's 3D IC Center in Ibaraki Prefecture. In other words, Japan only began to work on its second layer of insurance after securing the first. This is a logical approach, as both Rapidus and LSTC are step 2 of Japan's semiconductor digital industry strategy. These two steps have different strategic goals.
在去年9月的时候，跟日本之前的经产省大臣，也就是秋生田光一先生，刚好有跟他聊到，就是说，当时是整个为什么日本政府会把这一个就是台积电的半导体厂要设在熊本，最主要原因其实是有国家政策在的。国家政策的原因很简单，第一个，他找了2间公司来做合作，我们都知道，就是 Sony 它本身在做所谓的感光元件，还有 Denso 它在做汽车零组件。那所以呢，在整个状况里面，其实是根据汽车产业自动化，再加上你刚才所提到的工程线那边也是一个汽车零组件的一个发展中心。也就是说，日本政府他们希望能够在未来的汽车产业里面，他们还是能够掌握到世界龙头的地位，这是他们最主要的一个政策关键。日本政府它有它整体的一个战略规划，它的战略规划里面就是希望把九州不仅是打造成一个细岛，而且希望打造成是一个能够进入到 Level 5的一个自动驾驶完整的一个实验场。所以对日本政府来讲，汽车产业是他们命脉。那这当中你必须要掌握的就是半导体这件事情。
I do not think this is an insurance policy, but I think it is an evolution of the Japanese industrial thinking. Initially, yes, when the first factory of TSMC is invited to Kumamoto, it was about the 28 nanometer. And the reason why is that most of the chips that is required in Japan for the the Sony image sensor or Denso's the semiconductor for the cars. These are not the high-end chips. These are 28 nanometer is a sort of volume zone. So this is a kind of strategy which initially considered as based on the exit to have the factory which is more consumer friendly in Japan. This is a security of supply issue, to have a TSMC in our soil so that if there is any disruption of the supply chain happen, we'll be able to provide domestically. So that was the initial strategy.
JASM is a key part to step one, and the step one strategic goals are easy to grasp. Whether or not 2028 nanometer chips can satisfy the future car industry is a big question, and we will further explore in episode 5. Now, we will get into the strategic goals of step 2. The goal of Rapidus and LSTC takes the world by surprise a bit, as they aim to mass produce 2 nanometer advanced chips by 2027, after being founded in August 2022. And what's the most advanced process node in Japan back then, remember? Only 45 nanometer, at least 7 nodes away from 2 nanometer. How do they deal with this? Import still. IBM in the US already made 2 nanometer chips on May 6, 2021, but in a lab, not in a fab. In other words, IBM cannot mass produce at 2 nanometer.
IBM が日本に期待したのも高度な設計の半導体を量産化していく技術、ものづくりの技術は日本にあると思ってですね、ラピダスっていうのを作ることを要請されたわけですから、このサプライチェーンを形成するですね、チームの一員になっているわけですから。
Okay, so that was step 1 and step 2 of Japan's semiconductor revival strategy. You must want to know if there's step 3? Yes, it does. And that's the ultimate goal of the strategy.
日本には半導体の究極の形である、光と電子の融合、光電融合、それからその先にオール光で動く半導体、そういう技術のその目が日本にはあると NTT はその最たるものですし、ラピダスに NTT は出資をしているわけですから。
So Japan is about to set sail towards the goal to restore its past glory. The first ship is JASM, and the second ship is Japan's national team, Rapidus and LSTC. The 2 ships together are what I call dual insurance strategy, which could help make the third step possible, that is, silicon photonics. However, the plan seems to have changed as we are making this series, and I will tell you my discovery in episode 5. If you like this video, please give us a like and hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned. See you next time.